Hello, I'm Bruce Maples, publisher of Forward Kentucky, and today we're going to do an explainer talking about the word stupid. Now, we all remember when we were in kindergarten, we were told, don't call anybody stupid, and that's a good rule. But when we're using it this way, it has a very specific meaning, and using this specific meaning is actually an accurate way to describe some actions and some people. So today we're talking about stupid actions and stupid people, an explainer from Forward Kentucky. In this explainer, we're going to talk about the 5 laws of stupidity, what makes an action or a person stupid, can smart people be stupid, why are stupid people more dangerous than mean people, and what should we do about stupid people. There are 2 resources for this explainer that you're welcome to go look up. I got all this pretty much from them. Professor Carlo Maria Cipolla was an Italian economic historian who wrote a paper on the 5 laws of stupidity. He originally wrote it just sort of as a satirical piece for his friends, but so many people found value in it that he wound up publishing it. And the second is Reverend Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was a German Lutheran pastor and theologian, and we'll talk more about him in just a little bit. So what are the 5 laws of stupidity? Law 1, everyone always and inevitably underestimates the number of stupid people in circulation. I can speak to this from experience because I basically assume everybody around me is not stupid, that they are intelligent, that they know what the impact of their actions will be, and I figured that they're at least, able to make it in society, so they're obviously not stupid. So I usually underestimate the number of stupid people in circulation and around me. Law 2, the probability that a person is stupid is independent of any other characteristic of that person. This is very important. You cannot say, well, poor people are stupid. No, not necessarily. Well, wealthy people are stupid. No, not necessarily. Certain races, certain genders, certain anything. It is completely independent of any other characteristic. So if you are thinking, well, we're talking about a certain group of people, no, we're not. We're talking about people who exhibit certain actions, and I'll get to that in a minute. Law 3, a stupid person is a person who causes losses to another person or group of people when he or she does not benefit and may even suffer loss themselves. So we're going to talk more about this in just a minute when we get to the matrix. But pay attention to that definition. A person who causes other people harm or loss and does not benefit themselves or may even hurt themselves. That is a stupid person. Non-stupid people always underestimate the destructive power of stupid individuals. We, again, assume that people around us are not stupid, so therefore we underestimate how much damage they can actually cause. And finally, a stupid person is the most dangerous type of person. Now, you're thinking, really? More dangerous than criminals? More dangerous than people who are mean or heartless? Yes, and we'll talk about why. So let's talk about this grid. What makes an action or a person stupid? So Cipolla basically broke people into 4 groups based on what they did and whether it benefited others and benefited themselves, or if it harmed others and harmed themselves. So let's take these one at a time. If somebody does actions or regularly carries out actions that benefit both others and themselves, in other words, they do good for other people that also benefits themselves, then they are intelligent. Or in some ways, some people have done this graph, a hero. So people who do good for others and good for themselves are intelligent people. Those are intelligent actions. Those are the kinds of actions we want to see. If somebody benefits others but harms themselves, Cipolla called them helpless. Some people call them martyrs. If you intentionally choose to help others and harm yourself, you probably fall into the action of martyr. But if you are just trapped by your circumstances and you wind up hurting yourself all the time, even as you try to help others, then you are a helpless person, according to Cipolla. Now, what about somebody who harms others but benefits themselves? Well, Cipolla calls them bandits. We would probably call them criminals. They do damage to other people, but they do it so they can benefit. Okay? That's pretty straightforward. But here's the one that is the fourth box on this grid. What about people who do things that harm others and either don't benefit themselves or actually harm themselves? Those are the stupid people. So think about that. People who do things that hurt others and hurt themselves fall into the stupid category. And the actions they take are stupid actions. And then Cipolla includes a fifth box, which is people who don't do anything. They don't benefit others. They don't harm others. They don't benefit themselves. They don't harm themselves. They're just ineffectual. Most people who do this graphic don't include that, but he did. All right, so can smart people be stupid? Well, if you've gone back to the graphic, look at the graphic again, and you think about harm others, harm themselves, can smart people be stupid? The answer is, of course they can. Remember, we said that being stupid is not tied to any other factor like wealth or intelligence. Intelligent people can do stupid things. Absolutely. Smart people, unintelligent people, wealthy, poor, all are capable of doing things that harm others and at either no benefit to themselves or have actually harmed themselves as well. Now here's two examples. A CEO who fires the only person who knows how the company's systems work. He harms the other person, he harms his company, and he harms himself. That is a stupid action. And if this CEO regularly does stupid actions, you might be able to say he's a stupid person. What about two? A person on Medicaid who votes for someone who pledges to cut Medicaid. It's going to harm other people and it's going to harm themselves. That is a stupid vote and a stupid action. And of course, we're all sitting here thinking, well, I know some people who did that. Yes, it was a stupid vote by the definition we're using. So why are stupid people more dangerous than mean people? So we need to talk about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a pastor in Germany during the Nazi years. He preached against Nazism. He left the country when it became dangerous for him, but then he decided he had to go back and stand with his people. And so he went back and continued calling out the cruelty of the Nazi regime. He wound up getting arrested for doing that and was sent to a concentration camp. And he stayed a long time in the concentration camp. While he was there, he wrote letters and, thought about his circumstances and was trying to figure out what happened to his country. How did my country of poets and thinkers turn into a collective of cowards, crooks, and criminals? And he thought about this for a long time. And he finally came up with the idea that the only thing that explained it was something had happened to people's thinking. They had become stupid. And he wrote a long essay about this, and you can go read it, in the resources that I'll have at the end. But basically he said, the reason that stupid people are dangerous, more dangerous than mean people, is you can protest against evil. It can be exposed and prevented. Against stupidity, we are defenseless. Neither protest nor the use of force accomplish anything here. Reasons fall on deaf ears. When somebody has become stupid, you cannot reason with them, and they do not see that what they are doing is stupid. I think it's important to note, bandits may be evil, but at least their actions are rational and can be planned for. You can think about, well, somebody could steal this, so we need to protect it. What you cannot plan for is people who have completely given their brain over to some force and have become stupid, incapable of seeing the rational answer to what they're doing. So what causes people to be stupid? Again, Bonhoeffer spent a lot of time thinking about this. He said it's not a congenital defect. People are made stupid. Okay, think about this. Remember, we didn't say it had anything to do with intelligence. People are made stupid or they allow this to happen to them. Okay? It is a sociological problem. And here's the key. Every strong upsurge of power infects a large part of humankind with stupidity. And I love this quote, the power of one needs the stupidity of the other. Every strong upsurge of power. There is a video that I will link to at the end, and I'll put it in the description below as well, from Sprouts. And they have a video on Bonhoeffer's theory of stupidity, and they talk about people who have become stupid as if their brain has been removed. And they wind up becoming just part of this movement of this power thing that has been an upsurge. Individuals give up their autonomy and become part of a world of slogans and catchwords. Do you understand why I think it is important for us to put this out here right now and be able to talk about it? These people give up their autonomy. They stop being independent and they become part of this larger power force. Having thus become a mindless tool, the stupid person will also be capable of any evil, incapable of seeing that it is evil. This is why stupid people are more dangerous, okay, than mean people. Bandits, yes, they can harm you, but they are doing it for their own benefit. Stupid people are harming everything and not benefiting themselves. And because they have become stupid, they will not see the results of their actions. They will not understand what they are doing. What should we do then? Well, first of all, you can't argue with them or try to convince them. Remember what Bonhoeffer said, reasons fall on deaf ears. They will not listen. If you can, listen to them. Let them tell you what they think. Sometimes by explaining what they think, sometimes they may come to realize that they have become stupid. So listen, but you have to listen without judgment. You can't argue. You can't try to explain. You can't try to convince. You just listen. And hopefully you wait on either insight or circumstances to bring a change. People in Germany realized finally that Hitler had flim-flammed them into a brutal war and into a horrible outcome with the Holocaust. But you could not have convinced them of that in 1939 or 1940 or 1941 or 1942. You could not have convinced them of that. They either had to have the insight themselves or the circumstances had to finally bring a change. Bonhoeffer says that the only cure for stupidity is internal liberation. The person has to be liberated from this outside force that has made them stupid or that they have allowed to make them stupid. And as much as you can, be the intelligent person who brings gains to both themselves and those around them. What do I mean by that? Go back to the graph. People who do good for others and good for themselves are intelligent. So you want to be the person who brings good to others and to themselves. Okay? There's an interesting point here. The effects of stupidity on society. Cipolla says that the proportion of always stupid people in any society is relatively fixed. So we have a certain amount of people who are infected with stupidity, and thus the success of that society depends on everybody else. Societies who progress have a high proportion of people who act intelligently, who offset the losses of the stupid by bringing gains for themselves and their fellows. Yes, we have stupid people who are harming others and harming themselves, but if we have enough intelligent people, and remember, we're not talking about smart, we're talking about people who are heroes, you can use that word, people who do good for themselves and good for others, who make the society better. Those people, if there's a large proportion of them, they can offset the effects. Declining societies, though, have the same percentage of stupid people as prosperous societies, but they have a high percentage of defenseless people and an alarming proliferation of bandits with accents of stupidity. So what does that mean? These sort of societies have a large percentage of people who are helpless or defenseless. In other words, they try to do good for others at their own harm, or they are ineffectual. They do nothing. And they also have bandits who also have stupidity. In other words, people who harm others for their own benefit, but also harm others and harm themselves. One of the marks of a successful society is the proportion of people who are doing things to raise up the society. That's what this means. So we have to look around and say, we can't argue, we can't convince, that's not going to work. We have to do what we can do to make our society better. Helping people help themselves and others is the best path forward. Let me say that again. Helping people help themselves and others is the best path forward. So that's what you do with stupidity in your society. Action springs not from thought, but from a readiness for responsibility. The ultimate test of a moral society is the kind of world that it leaves to its children. From Bonhoeffer. The reason that I thought it was important to bring this up is that I think the definition of stupid as harming others and harming yourself, or harming others at no benefit to yourself, is apropos right now for much of our politics. So let me give you two quick examples as we close up. What about tariffs? So we are doing we're not doing tariffs. The Trump administration is doing tariffs. Who is that going to hurt? That's going to hurt everybody in the country, but it's also hurting them. People are not happy. People are upset. They have done damage to their reputation by implementing tariffs. Let's take an example from Frankfurt. People who don't do anything about climate change, who say climate change is a hoax, who think it's not important. They are obviously harming the rest of us, but guess what? The climate doesn't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or an elected or a voter. It's going to harm them too. Ignoring climate change is a stupid move. It is a stupid action. Implementing tariffs and breaking world trade is a stupid action by the definition that we have laid out in this explainer. So if you say to somebody, that was a really stupid thing to do, and they say you're not supposed to call people stupid, you can say, I am using it this way. And you can explain to them, stupid is when you do things that harm others and harm yourself, or harm others to no benefit to yourself. You can even show them the grid. It's easy and quick to draw. We're going to be talking about some of the things that are going on using the word stupid to describe them. So I thought it was important first to get this explainer out and posted so people can refer to it, because I'm going to refer to it in certain stories. All right, here are the references. I will put these in the thing down below. The 5 Basic Laws of Stupidity and Bonhoeffer's Theory of Stupidity. I would highly encourage you to watch that video. It's a very good video, and it also has links to some of his writings. That's it. Thank you for being with us, and we'll have some more explainers coming. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can see when they happen. Bye-bye.